Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. Try to do this without burping. Welcome to Fight Night Bracketology time for the big fat dubs. Coming for sure.
let me slap you on the back or something.
Right.
Just get it out of your system. Pretty sure the people want to hear you. This big old.
Welcome everyone to Big Fat Dubs Bracketology Fight Night. Tonight we have a really doozy one today. We have the top 32 quarterbacks based on touchdown passes. So we've done a football one before of running backs by rushing yardage, with the winner being LaDainian Tomlinson. Now we're going to do quarterbacks. So like your normal bracketology, we're going to each go through and we're going to pick one. And how we're going to pick it, just for you guys to know, is we're going to pick it off of not who is better, because the game is completely different in each. I mean, you have a lot of guys that are competing in different eras of football, but we're going to base it off of quarterbacks that we would choose as GMs, owners, head coaches of who we're going to pick. So that's how we're going to base everything like that. And if we tie, we are going to have the wheel. I have my phone with me, it's with the wheel on it, and then we'll do a wheel for it, and then we'll go from there. Kelly, do you got anything?
No, like I said, this is gonna just be like last time. It's like, who do we feel like that we want to start our NFL team with?
And I want to say this right now. I apologize if I burp. I just downed chocolate milk, and it's sitting there. It's ready to go.
Also, by the way, guys, there are people on this list, guys from the pretty much older generation that we kind of know their names, but we've never seen them play or anything like that. So you're gonna see a lot of guys here in this first round. We're gonna pass on because we know the other guy that's adjacent from them. So just FYI on that.
And this is strictly our list. This is love to see your guys' thoughts. Actually, I forgot to tell you. I may have a guest that want to come in to do sports talk one time.
Okay.
He's actually remember I told you about the channel Lumberland that I used to watch? They make bat mugs and they do all this sports talk. So one of the guys, Big Nick, is one of the famous guys. I'll show you some clips of him. He did a TikTok live, and I said, "Hey, would love to have you on our channel, Seattle sports fan versus Boston's fan." And he's like, "Shoot me a DM."
Hey.
So you might see someone kind of YouTube and TikTok famous as a guest if we can ever get it worked out. That's right, baby. The king makes some moves. All right. Like I said, excuse us if we burp or anything like that. We just ate dinner and everything like that. And again, just
natural body functions. It will happen.
By the way, Buffalo Wild Wings, honey garlic sauce on their chicken.
Yeah, the new one that just came out.
Fucking delicious. Really good. So
also, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you go check out that chili stream that we did of Ron's Chili, which I just had leftovers of that.
Yep.
Still very delicious, even as a leftover.
And it will clean your system out like a motherfucker. We should know.
No,
yesterday was a cleansing day.
It wasn't later in the day that we had it. It was the following day.
Yeah.
But you feel good afterwards, though.
You feel good.
Like, oh, okay.
It's perfect for chili dogs. It's perfect to eat with cornbread. It's perfect for even eating with like tortilla chips. So check out all that stuff and everything like that. So without further ado, before we get into the part where we have to pause and run to the bathroom and cry for 20 minutes, we'll get started with the first matchup of the day. We have them ranked by, so all their numbers are not random. The numbers are ranked based on where they stand in total touchdown passes.
This is career, by the way. This is career.
This is career.
Literally, yeah. Tom Brady is number 1. George Blendon is actually number 32. I had to do 32 in order to make the list, so everybody actually had a matchup. Otherwise, there's somebody that sits off to the side, waiting for the next round. I just don't like that. I don't like having somebody just waiting. So that's why it's 32.
All right, so we're going to get started with the first matchup. we have the number 1 seeded Tom Brady versus number 32 seeded George Blanda. And there's no question, it's Tom.
It's Brady.
It's Brady. Brady is going to go far in this list.
Yep.
Next matchup, we have a couple of old school quarterbacks. We have Johnny Unitas, formerly of the Baltimore Colts,
Yep.
versus Warren Moon, who has had a career in many different teams. I think his longevity of career, or his most famous part, was with the Oilers.
With the Oilers, yep.
Also a former Seahawk, also a former UW Pooch. I am going to give it to Warren Moon. He was a very athletic quarterback. He had a very strong arm and everything like that. And he was kind of one of the main pioneers of black quarterbacks.
And he was also a good precision passer.
Mm-hmm.
He was very well precision passed, accuracy as well. Johnny Unitas, like I said, we've only seen clips about him because he was pretty much the big thing before Peyton Manning came along and blew all of his records away.
Well, Johnny Unitas was a big quarterback back in the day with Joe Namath and all that stuff. But I think we both agreed it's going to be Warren Moon. Next matchup, we have Matt Ryan versus Drew Bledsoe. I'm going to be biased here, and I'm going to go with my cougar, Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, almost kind of got to as well. I never cared for really Matt Ryan when he first came into the league. Yeah, I'm glad that he helped, bring the Falcons back up after the whole Michael Vick incident. But I'm going to go with Bledsoe as well.
I mean, to be fair, Ryan has an MVP compared to Bledsoe. But honestly, Matt Ryan's career he's got good receivers.
Now this one, this sucks.
Oh, this one's easy for me.
I know, but it's the fucking teams that they played for.
This one's easy for me. It's Big Ben. You got a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And Romo, the thing is, Romo didn't win. Romo couldn't win.
Yeah, that was the thing. Roman, he always showed glimpses of greatness, but then he would always fall in the...
I can remember his rookie or his first year when he became a starting quarterback and he made it all the way to the playoffs and played Seattle.
And
he had that botched snap. I'm sorry, but Ben Roethlisberger, 2-time Super Bowl champion, been to the Super Bowl 3 times, and multiple time MVP, or not MVP, excuse me, but multiple time Pro Bowler. Yeah, I'm gonna go Big Ben.
As much as I hate the guy, I have to go Ben too. I don't really care for either.
It's one of those ones where it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it's gonna be no matter what.
But I mean, next matchup we have Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers versus John Haddle and it's Rodgers.
Yeah, we don't even know anything about the other guy. But I mean, Rodgers, if the guy wasn't so fucking stuck up his own ass, it's actually a really great quarterback.
He is.
I'm sorry, I just had to get that out there. So for any Green Bay Packer fans that come out and say Ray Rodgers.
The funny part is he said that, right? Normally you would hear me say that. The thing about it, though, is I've said it for the 4 years we've lived here together. I've been saying that. And Kelly has now drawn off of what I've said, unfortunately.
It even goes back to before we even lived together.
No, but I've been saying it for the last 4 years, and everyone's been saying it now, that he's a POS. Because everyone was always talking about how good he was.
Right. Up next, we have Sonny Jurgensen versus Matthew Stafford.
I got to go Stafford.
Yeah, I got to go
for Stafford. What he did, for not only for winning the Super Bowl this last year, but for what he did in Detroit. He earned a lot of respect from me.
He does. He's actually a really good quarterback, really tough guy, too. And just unfortunately, Detroit just didn't help him out as much. Yeah, he had Megatron there with it, but that was about it. The running games that he had were always in and out, and the offensive line was just never all that great for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I should say this. They never could get a defense to help them. That's what I should say.
I mean, they couldn't even get They fucked up with Stafford because they only wanted to give it to Megatron. They didn't give him a good tight end game. They didn't give him a good running back game. They didn't do shit with their offensive line. They fucked it up with Stafford. Next matchup, we have 2 of the greatest Seattle Seahawks quarterbacks.
That is funny how that lined up.
We have Russell Wilson, fuck you, versus Dave Craig. And I got to go Russ because of what he did with Seattle and the play style and the you know if they're looking at the system and everything like that, if the system's right, any quarterback is good. But you know, I gotta say this though with Craig, there were a lot of losing seasons with Dave Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of losing
That's
seasons.
kind of what I was looking for too. But yeah, if you're looking at the earlier days of Russell being the playmaker that he was and everything,
Yeah,
then definitely. But of
and
course,
we'll
now
see if
it's
he
like-
bounces back from this one really bad year in Denver. I still say Russell Wilson, fuck you.
I'm not even. I don't think we really even discussed this one.
Hold on, they get an intro like everybody else. Okay?
But I'm already putting in the name that it's gonna be.
We have YA Title or Tittle or whatever his name is
Tittle.
versus the man, the myth, the legend, Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
And yes, Brett Favre wins. If anyone knows, Brett Favre is my favorite quarterback of all time. He's gonna go far. Next matchup, we have Peyton Manning versus Len Dawson. Come on, Peyton Manning is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, regardless of the fact that he doesn't have the high numbers like Brady. But
Right.
fuck, man, this dude came back from neck surgery and threw for 55 touchdowns.
In his first his first game back, threw 7 touchdowns on the season opener,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
like he was good. Peyton Manning is legitimately one of the best quarterbacks. He takes statistics out of the way, he's considered one of the best. Next matchup, we have Joe Montana versus John Elway.
Classic matchup.
Montana, fuck Elway.
Yeah, I mean Montana. I'm going back to my San Francisco roots here, being a San Francisco fan, watching my dad who praised Montana. On those days, those Super Bowl years and all that. Even seen clips of him. The guy was great.
Well, not only that
Elway-
though, but there was winning with Montana.
Yeah,
Elway didn't win till the 90s, at the end of his career. But even then, he got helped when by Terrell Davis and Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
Also, fuck John Elway. The second person on the list to get the big old fuck you. Next matchup, we have Frank Tarkenton, mostly known for the Minnesota Vikings, which is Dan Fouts, who I believe is the Chargers.
I think you're right. I
I
almost want to go with Frank on this one.
I'm gonna go Fran Tarkenton because
Certainly Fran.
he's good. Like if
Yeah.
you ever watch some of his clips, he was a ball player. So I'm gonna go Fran Tarkenton. Next matchup, we have Andy Dalton. Kind of bounced around the league and everything like that, but mostly known for his days as a Cincinnati Bengal versus Phillip Rivers, a guy who's played for 2 teams, mostly known for the Chargers. I'm going to go Rivers because he was quietly one of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game.
He was a fighter. That guy, he didn't go down without a fight.
He didn't. And he was also a trash talker.
Oh yeah, major trash talker.
He was major trash talker.
Major talker.
But he was a good player. Next matchup, we have Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins versus Boomer Eisman from the Cincinnati Bengals. There is no question that Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks in an era where they were predominantly defensive heavy and running heavy. Fuck, if he had today's society, Marino would be
Killing it.
Marino
Would
to
be
me would
killing
be
it.
what I say about Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan played in this era right now, he would have broken Kareem's record in a much lesser time than LeBron James. If Dan Marino played in this style of football now, this dude would have never even talked about Tom Brady. Tom Brady would have been the bitch that came in, from Michigan who was slower than molasses on his running. Marino, like if you guys have never watched some highlights of Dan Marino, he was good. And it's unfortunate he's never won a Super Bowl. But then again, football was a lot more competitive back in the day. But Dan Marino, fucking amazing.
Yep.
Next matchup, we have Kirk Cousins versus Eli Manning. I'm going Eli. 2-time Super Bowl champion. 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Dude sucked on a daily basis. But this dude beat Tom Brady. Twice.
I mean, you're kind of looking
In
at
the
guys.
Super Bowl.
You're kind of looking at guys that are similar. They'd get hot and then they would suck. then they get kind of hot, then suck, and then they were. Well, these are Cousins is still doing that. Gets hot, then he sucks and
Cousins.
sucks.
Cousins is on my shit list though.
That's what I'm saying because when I pulled him in here this year for fantasy, oh my god,
He's on my shit list. Eli Manning.
I'm gonna go with Eli. Yeah, I mean, out of these two, yeah. All right. Up next, we have Carson Palmer, from mostly known in his career in Cincinnati and also Cardinals and Raiders as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Vinny Testaverde, Eagles?
Nope. Jets.
Jets, okay.
Jets and Dolphins.
I know it was one of the green ones. Besides
Jets and Dolphins. Or you know what? Maybe not the Dolphins. Maybe I'm thinking of Chad Pennington, but the Jets.
Chad Pennington was Jets.
Yeah. Well, Chad Pennington was also Dolphins.
That's true, yeah.
So I think Vinny Testaverde, I think it's just Jets that I know of. I'm gonna go Palmer. When he was good, he was really good. Like the time when he had
Chad Johnson, TJ Houshmandzadeh just balling out.
Well, not only that though, but his time in Arizona when they were on that.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, they played the 15-1 fucking Panthers, but they were so good. Next matchup, we have Jim Kelly. Oh, I hate this matchup because I love Jim Kelly and I love his story. But we also played the number 2 ranked person, second highest in touchdowns, Drew Brees. You know I'm gonna go with my man Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, yeah, Brees. Overcoming the short guy, quarterback that everybody said he wasn't going to do it. Everyone on make it. Only won one Super Bowl, but
beat Peyton Manning.
But yeah,
he beat Peyton Manning. And he also was definitely screwed out of he was definitely screwed out of MVPs and everything like that. But then again, for him to be the number 2, ranked quarterback based on touchdown passes says a lot about actually his career and how good Drew Brees was. Yeah. He was a stud. He was a stud, man.
It makes you wonder too if he didn't retire the year before here and played this year with Tom Brady having a down year. What would have happened?
Yeah, but he needed to retire. His last game was so piss poor.
I still think it was that hit, that rib shot that just did it for
him. But that playoff game against the Buccaneers, you knew he had to be done.
All right, guys, that is the first round of the bracket. We are now moving on to the second round. So up next now we got Brady and Moon. Remember, guys, this is also, too, who we think is going to be the best quarterback for our team.
Brady.
I'm actually going to go Moon for this one. Both are great. Both you can go either or start a career with.
If Moon upsets Brady right here, this is something big. Because, I'm sorry, but it's Tom Brady.
All right, Wheel says...
Warren Moon.
Wow.
This fucking LaDainian Tomlinson, Barry Sanders all over again. Fuck, phone.
Fuck, phone. All right, next up we have Blitzo versus Ben.
Hold on, I want to go back to it. Why did you pick Warren Moon over Tom Brady? That's a curious thing.
I just feel like, like you said, we're going with more who we think is going to be the better quarterback. I feel like he carries himself better than Tom Brady did. I feel like he's just a better overall athlete than Brady as well. I just think also he's just a better passer. If he didn't go to the CFL and actually stayed with more in the NFL, he would be ranked way higher than he actually is right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think that he was a more accurate passer than Tom Brady?
Yep. I think he would have been.
I don't think he would have been. I don't think so. I mean, there's a reason why Brady is as high as he is and has played for as long as he did too. I mean, I'm not trying to disregard your pick. I'm just curious because that's big. That's big. Brady is one of the greatest players of all time. It's one of those things where it's like I'm very interested on your thought process. That's definitely a shocker. I look at it as the fact of the accuracy and everything like that, but honestly, we're talking prime Brady.
Yeah.
There is no one that wins
Yeah.
better than Brady.
But also, too, as well, Moon was a little bit more. He could actually run a little bit more, too. And that was my other thing. He can be a bit more of a scramble as well.
Yeah, my thing about going with running
We
quarterbacks...
definitely have, we definitely have different thoughts on each of these guys, what we like. But that's just mine for Warren Moon over Brady. I'm not doing this because I don't like Brady and stuff like that. This has nothing to do with that.
Calling it out right now. Calling it out right now.
I just feel like I'm personally thinking Warren Moon would be a better option for my team.
Okay. Getting angry at me. I'm just trying to make it. I'm
just defending my argument. That's what I'm saying. I'm adding more.
I mean, you just hate Tom Brady. We know it. You mean, you hate Tom Brady. It's okay.
And he's all butthurt because I beat Tom Brady out.
Well, no, because you beat this is the second time the phone has picked your pig, and I'm gonna call it out wrong. I'm gonna call it out. They were wrong. They were wrong.
The phone was wrong.
The phone was wrong. How the hell do you pick LaDainian Tomlinson over Barry Sanders? No.
We'll go change it. We're gonna put them together. We'll put them together.
No. The thing is made. The thing is made. The thing is made. I can be butthurt, okay? I can be a little butthurt. To me, why I picked Brady is because of the wins. It's the winning aspect. It's the clutchness. Can't beat. I'd rather have a guy who is clutch. Yeah, he may not move, but that's the great thing about Brady is that he knows how to release the ball quick. He actually has good, pocket precision and everything like that. So, I mean, Warren Moon won. There's nothing to be said. Phone, fuck you. Barry Sanders should have won. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I've seen you butthurt over the phone picks.
Oh
too,
yeah.
So.
If you've seen me plenty butthurt over stuff all the time.
Yeah. Next matchup, we have Ben Roethlisberger versus Drew Bledsoe. I am going to go with Ben because he was a better winner.
I'm going to the same thing because we kind of got to see Bledsoe there. At least I got to see Bledsoe towards the end of the year with Dallas. Mm-hmm. And the guy just was not all that impressive. He had a lot of hype talk. I guess, going back to his college days and then his earlier days in the career with, at the New England. Mm-hmm. But I only really saw him, with the Cowboys until Romo took over.
Yep.
But Ben, of course, we already know about Ben. Watched his whole career.
Next matchup, we have Aaron Rodgers versus Matthew Stafford. I'm going to go Stafford because he did more with less.
Thank you, because, I didn't really want to... I see the next matchup. I really didn't want it to be a Packer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to kind of go with the same thing, plus... One guy's a real bitch, and the other guy's a nice, humble guy.
All right, next matchup, we have Russell Wilson versus Brett Favre. It's Favre.
It's Russell Wilson. Do the wheel.
Already pissed me off.
I go 2 for 2.
You kiss my ass with that shit. You make me do a will for Russell Wilson versus Brett Favre, you might need a new computer.
Good thing it's over here.
I don't mean shit.
No,
we've seen WWE enough. I'll put you through the computer.
No, I'd say it's fair to Brett Favre. Brett Favre at his time, being the gunslinger that he was, with the deep throw ability, the precision passing. Dude, the guy was able to fucking throw the ball as he was diving through the air. I mean, Russell's whole thing was just being able to escape, extend the plays mostly.
Well, not only that though, but with Favre, there was no tougher quarterback ever.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people will talk about his interceptions and how he has the most interceptions and everything like that. But in reality, this dude for, his entire career never missed a start until his very last year in about midway through the year. So you're talking almost 20 years of this dude playing football?
Yep.
Through injury, through loss of his father, Brett Favre is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, and to do it right too. Next matchup is Peyton Manning versus Joe Montana, a finals matchup that we would have seen before. I'm going to go Peyton Manning, and I know we're going to go to the wheel because I know he's going to pick Joe Montana, and because you kind of have to.
I think this is definitely overall just a decision that the wheel has to make for us, because obviously we got to see a little bit at the end of Montana's career, but with KC, but we saw Peyton Manning's career pretty much.
Yep.
But, all right, let's do it. But, yeah.
So I'm going for Peyton Manning. Kelly's going for Montana. Joe Montana moves on.
No disrespect to Manning. No disrespect. All right.
All right, we have Fran Tarkenton versus Phillip Rivers. I'm going to go Tarkenton.
You're going to go Tarkenton. I was going to go Rivers on this. Well. Yeah. Don't know I hear a lot about Tarkenton, but never got to see him. We watched all of Phillip Rivers. I guess we'll again.
Tarkenton wins.
Nice. One of the old guys in there.
Long time to be right for me, Wheel.
Right.
Jackass.
Well, I think we already know this next matchup.
Marino. Marino moves on. There's no question. I mean, we're gonna. I mean, I'll be real. Like, there's some good matchups we have coming up.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some good ones.
The next matchup we have Drew Brees versus Carson Palmer. I'm gonna go Brees.
Breezy. I mean, sorry, the guy, like I said, set the bar for short quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Next matchup we have Warren Moon versus Ben Roethlisberger. I'm gonna go Big Ben again. It's the winning aspect for me.
You know, actually, in this case, I'm gonna have to. In this matchup, I'm gonna have to go with Ben. As much as I like to Moon come out, I'm gonna have to go with Ben. Ben, whole career, all that, had Mike Tomlin with him, and Bill Cowher.
I thought you were riding with Warren Moon to the end.
I mean, I'm gonna lose him. I was either gonna lose him. I was probably gonna lose him in our next matchup anyway. So
I thought he was your ride or die.
Nope. I mean, because I already know he's moving on in this one, and I know he's gonna lose.
I thought Warren Moon upsetting #1 ranked Tom Brady in the second round, gonna take him all the way. Warren was gonna be on your side the entire time. Next matchup we have Brett Favre versus Matthew Stafford. Favre.
Yep, Favre.
All right, we have some really good matchups. We have Joe Montana versus Fran Tarkenton. I'm gonna go Montana.
Montaners. You know what? Actually, I just realized somebody who's not on this list. Steve Young, but he had a shorter career.
Shorter career, didn't have his impact and everything like that.
Yep.
Next matchup. This is a really good one. Dan Marino versus Drew Brees. I am going to go Dan Marino because I think in his timeline, he had a better challenge.
If we were to take somebody right now in their prime, in the league that it is right now,
it's Dan Marino.
It's Dan Marino.
Dan fucking Marino.
You take what Dan, like you said, Dan did back then, you put him in today's game, he's winning Super Bowls every year like Mahomes would be almost.
Well, Mahomes wouldn't even stand a chance.
Mahomes who? Mahomes who?
I don't even think Brady would have had the career that he did with Dan Marino there.
Oh, yeah.
Dan was a much better quarterback than anybody that we've seen.
Oh, man, we get to have the classic matchup here. All right.
All right, next matchup for the semifinals, we have Big Ben versus Brett Favre. Ben had a good run, but it doesn't stand a chance against Brett Favre.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ben, you might have the 2 Super Bowl wins, and Favre only has the 1, but it's Brett Favre.
It's the career, though.
It's the career, the records. I mean, just the longevity.
Again, it's about who we would pick and everything like that, and Favre would give you everything he had, while also keeping it light. He was also a jokester.
Hey, and the guy looks good in a pair of Wrangler jeans.
All right, classic matchup. I feel like, again, we just got to go to the phone, too. We have Joe Montana versus Dan Marino. So I'm going to pick Marino because, again, in today's society, Dan is the better pick. He's the better quarterback. I'm going to say this right now. So with Joe Montana, we can talk about Jerry Rice, right?
Right.
Name me someone on the Miami Dolphins offense besides Dan Marino.
Besides Dan Marino, I couldn't tell you. I mean, the only other Miami Dolphin from back then that ever comes up to me is Jason Taylor. And he's a defensive tackle.
Yeah, so that's
But
that's a point that I like to make is the fact of
I
like
mean, Ricky Williams was way after him.
yes. So that's my point when I bring up why I pick Marino is because you could talk about Jerry Rice. You talk about the fact that Montana had Rice, one of the top tier quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, with arguably one of the best players overall to play in the game in the NFL. Marino, and some of you Miami Dolphins might know, but I couldn't tell you a fucking person on that roster for that offensive side outside of Dan Marino, which goes to show how good Dan Marino actually is. And you think too. So, say we take Montana, put him on the Niners right now. We take Dan Marino, put him on the Dolphins right now. Again, there's a lot more help with Montana to succeed because you have Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and a great offensive line. But can you imagine Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with Dan fucking Marino?
That would be a great matchup. That'd be the fucking game of the week. Fucking. Oh, that would be a Super Bowl matchup just wanting to happen.
I also want to point out too, there's the matchup, and yes, and they're good. They're both good quarterbacks, but look at the rankings. Montana is ranked 19th.
Yep.
Dan Marino is ranked 7th, which goes to show how good Marino actually was. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with the guy who succeeded without more talent. I'm going Dan Marino.
Also, you got to put in consideration with Montana. He had this famous quarterback, I'm pretty sure you know him, called Bill Walsh, that was just had amazing mind.
Mm-hmm.
Who did Marino have? Who did he have? Was it Bill Parcells? Was it Bill Parcells?
It was Bill Parcells. It was also Jimmy
Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, I actually think right now, honestly, if Marino, like you said, in today's, it's going to be better. Mostly because Montana, I think, would only be successful if Bill Walsh was still.
I don't. That's hard to say about with that aspect, but
I'm actually going to go with Marino because I think actually better overall. He is the better quarterback. Montana just happened to be on
the better teams,
the better team back then with the players and the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to discriminate against Marino's players and coaches, but
they're not as well known as what Montana had.
Yeah.
All right. So the championship matchup, we have Brett Favre versus Dan Marino.
Oh, damn.
I mean, it's a matchup that you kind of thought was going to happen. I mean, honestly, you can go with either one. You can go with any quarterback in this list. It'd be a tough matchup in this finals.
I'm still going to go with Marino actually over this.
I'm not. I'm not.
It's like I said, this is the problem with us is that we can go with either one of these guys, but unfortunately, it comes down to
the wheel because again, there's what we just talked about with Dan Marino, but I'll defend Brett Favre on this one.
Oh, yeah.
There is not a quarterback tougher than Brett fucking Favre. There is not a quarterback that dominated. And granted, yes, he didn't win. He only won one Super Bowl. But honestly, in an era where defenses were just monsters and they were more running game, Favre outperformed everybody. And you would have thought that he would have done worse when Mike Holmgren left the Packers. But he continued to do well. This is a multiple-time MVP. You know, for the longest time, was ranked as the greatest quarterback.
Multiple Pro Bowls.
Mm-hmm. This dude, and he almost had a chance to win another Super Bowl had it not been for the Bounty Gate in New Orleans that took him out in Minnesota. But this dude, no matter where he went, thrived. So we're going to go to the wheel for the championship. I am going for Brett Favre. And Kelly's going for Dan Marino. There is actually no wrong answer here. You know, this isn't going to be a Brady Moon, situation. Both these guys are capable of being the best.
Oh yeah.
And the winner is Dan Marino, which is not a bad pick. You know, you're talking about a guy who performed at a very high level in a time when quarterbacks were just there.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Most definitely. So now my only question is, so say if Moon didn't move on, Ben didn't move on, it's Brady and Favre right here. Who are you picking?
Brady.
Brady's going to be your final guy. So then it comes down to Brady Marino. Brady?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Only because of what he can do.
Okay.
I don't think there's. I love Favre. I like Marino. I like Montana. I like Peyton. But we legitimately watched Brady's career, and what we saw was greatness. What we saw was a guy who every year got better. And after his little spit where he got a little taste of humble pie, is you think about it too. He won 3 Super Bowls very early on in his career, and then they didn't go for 5-6 years. Then finally started going again. It's because he learned the humility of I don't need the star receiver like Randy Moss. I don't need all these big time players. I need to and he was also a very unselfish quarterback where he took pay cuts in order to have the right players to win a Super Bowl.
I still remember those 1 or 2 seasons where they didn't have a top wide receiver at all.
No.
It was literally like walk-ons, free agents,
I mean,
undrafted guys that literally he ended up through the season having to train them and actually turn them into stars.
Well, he took receivers that were 6 feet and under and made them good. Wes Welker,
Dante Stallworth,
fucking
Amendola,
Danny Amendola, fucking Julian Edelman. Those guys would not have been good in any other spot. That's how good. I mean, granted, the wheel made the decision. Do I agree with Warren Moon beating him? Absolutely fucking not. But then again, it is what it is. I didn't agree with Barry Sanders losing to LaDainian Tomlinson. The wheel spoke, right? But you couldn't go wrong with Favre, Montana, Marino, Peyton, or Brady. You're looking at 5 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Oh, yeah.
So, and rightfully so, Dan Marino probably would have still won. Because, again, we went to the wheel and everything like that. And, Marino, it's not like Marino doesn't deserve this win. Marino deserves this. Because, again, he's one of the greatest guys to play in an era that was not meant for him. He was meant for an era like today. But then again, it's so soft that any one of these guys would put up the high numbers. Marino would have just done it in a way that would have been absolutely destroying every fucking record. That's the truth.
Right.
Yeah. So the winner of the quarterback bracket will be Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins. Congratulations to Dan Marino. You were voted as the best quarterback of the Big Fat Dubs Bracketology Fight Night of Quarterbacks. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what your guys' picks would have been and everything like that. Love to hear your guys' debates and everything like that. And yeah, we have a couple more brackets coming your way. Some cool ones. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Villains, and we also have Cake versus Pie, a one that we actually redid and everything like that. As well as check out some of our other videos and everything like that. As always, like, subscribe, punch the notification bell. And Kelly, you got anything?
Yep, I think we're pretty much set. So we're going to go ahead and send it off if we're all good to go.
We'll send it off. So as Kelly would always say,
a kami and a hami. We're going to send it home to mommy, everybody. Thank you all very much. We'll see you in the next one.